looked exactly like a hamburger basket, except for its incredible size. Do you believe in John Boy diving dirty head out with his one good eye?
All right, listen, Jackie, I've got the best idea. What you're gonna do is you're gonna get a couple, a lovely couple. There'll be two of them, there'll be a man and a woman. Not that it has to be, but for the sake of the opening scene. They're not really important characters, but you'll think they are. Our founding fathers, they walked out into a field and said, plumbing, we need plumbing. So they're carrying their popcorn, and they're talking, they're making small talk. It's very lovely, it's very quaint.
Front of me, and the back of the neck looked like a package of hot dogs, and I got hungry.
And the squirrel runs up to the girl, and she's like, oh, it's a squirrel. And she feeds him a piece of popcorn, and he scampers away. Shenandoah, I long to hear you. In a few minutes, they've walked a little farther, two squirrels come up. She's like, oh, he's got a girlfriend, this is so lovely. So she gives him two pieces of popcorn, and they scamper away. The whole family's come up. So she's like, oh, look at that. We're really getting a crowd. She gives out 4 pieces of popcorn. They all scurry away.
The other day, I went out to the fields and I found a sheep, and he was hiding in a bush.
Now, she doesn't think anything about it until...
Toothless, we must save Astrid.
She turns around. There's 1,000 squirrels.
I have come to eat your entire soul.
They just start running. She's faster. She's on the track team. He's a little slow. He's got some weight on him.
We named the dog Indiana.
Suddenly, can't hear him behind her. There's no footprints. She turns. He's gone. The squirrels are gone. They're all gone.
Yes, the first time I saw them, they were out on the moors.
Then she hears a scream up in a tree. Blood starts raining down from the tree. Then we roll the credits. Squirrel Rana, death from above.
Are the stars just pinholes in the cushion of night? Where to, I thought? Where would they run? These are the moors. There is nothing in the moors, nothing anymore. There's not even s'mores in the moor.
I'll get you and your little dog too!
What are you doing in there?
I'm on the cell phone?
Hurry up, it's time to go to work.
All right, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time it is that you're watching this. Basically, I'm doing this as a bit of a clarification before you see the demonstration. What you will be creating today is a pre-sketch for your image, which means the planning stage of the image. And that word pre-sketch is interchangeable with words like sloppy copy or thumbnail sketch. There's a lot of words for it, depending on what business you're in, whether you're a designer of clothing or you're an animator or, comic book artist. So let me show my screen here for a little bit. All right. So here are the different parts of it. A pre-sketch or thumbnail, sometimes called a sloppy copy, is a way to do a quick drawing to basically pan out what you're going to do for your finished and beautiful chunk of work. And the way to think about it is this. You're giving either yourself or the person that's employing you a bunch of ideas so that they can pick the one they like the best. That way you have an open line of communication with them, because that is the job. It's to communicate visually. That's what an artist does. In this image here, it might have been for a video game. And instead of doing one beautiful drawing of a car, which may have taken several hours, let's say it took 5 hours to do a finished, beautiful, colored, background enhanced type image, whereas it could take an hour to come up with 5 ideas, sketch them out, and let them pick. Because if you had to do a 5-hour drawing for each one of those, 5 times 5 ends up being 25. That's a lot of hours drawing. Whereas you could give the idea first. They could say, I like this one on the bottom. but could you draw a gun on top of it? Because it's going to be that kind of video game. Okay, well then that way you've found out something you need to know before you do your finished good drawing or your finished design. Same thing happens in the fashion industry. They do a bunch of sloppy copies before somebody commits to doing a finished drawing or a finished mock-up of the outfit themselves. Here's another series from fashion industry. It looks like they used the same template to put all the clothing on top of. So that's probably a trace where they have a shape of a woman looking off to the left side, and they trace it and they just draw the clothes on top. Same thing happens when you are drawing for comic books or you're drawing for movie storyboards. You want to have quick pictures so that you can get an idea and be able to communicate with the cameraman. That's how the director gets the image he wants. That's how the cameraman knows what the director wants. Same thing with character design. And then lastly, people will even do it for their finished paintings. They'll do a thumbnail tone sketch to see if they like what they're seeing as far as simple shapes or the landscape in front of them being laid out in simple shapes to make sure it's strong. Then they get a reference photo, then they get a paper or a finished painting. All right, so just so you don't freak out, because I'm going to be drawing real sloppy today, this is basically our roadmap to what our finished drawing is going to look like. All right, hope you enjoy the demo.
All right, what we're going to do today, hopefully, is a quick demo on how to do your favorite things paper. Now, yours is going to be a little bit smaller than mine, and that's fine. I'm going to first of all make a border. I'm going to do this by being really lazy and putting a ruler or a straight edge or a fat book edge down on the edge of my paper, and I'm going to put my pencil on the other side, thus giving me like a 1-inch border. All right, we'll address that border on a later date, what's going to go in that border. All right, so that all went pretty quick. Double check and make sure. Now your border should be all around. I don't know if you can see all of mine. All right, you get the general idea. Borders on all sides. All right, so now I have to add in my favorite things. Well, when we're talking about holidays, that's usually a pretty easy one to do. So I'm going to simplify it. I am still kind of drawing from the left side of my brain because I am using a symbol instead of looking at an image of something. And if you want to look at an image of something to draw this, you can make your symbol a little more advanced. But if I do this, and that was really extraneous. You didn't have to do that. You'll get the idea that my favorite holiday is not Christmas. All right, so the question is, did I have to draw the entire pumpkin to communicate my favorite holiday? And the answer is no. I'm going to move that up a little bit, all right, just so you see it. Okay? Then I have to figure out where I'm going to put my other favorites. Well, as we discussed earlier, if you're doing your favorite music, you might put the primary instrument of that music. Like in death metal, you have a death metal looking guitar with a lot of sharp points and a lot of things like that. I like all kinds of styles of music, even occasionally a few rap songs, although that's pretty rare. Tend to like hip hop a little better than rap. But I do definitely have a favorite instrument, which is the bass guitar. All right, bass guitars generally have 4 strings,
So I'm going to take up a lot of my space here and roughly sketch out a 4-string bass guitar. And once again, I don't have to show the body. And the reason I don't have to show the body is because most people who know their instruments know that very few guitars come in 4 strings. Also, my favorite bass that I own is fretless, so I don't have to draw the lines. If I wanted to draw the lines, I could do this. I could put the frets in. If I was doing my good one, I probably would have left it fretless. Fret markers on the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9, and the 12. All right, is that all in frame? Good, that's in frame. Okay, so now I got to think about my other favorites. My favorite movie, Highlander, which is about a guy who lives forever. Who wants to live forever? He has a sword that was given to him by the guy who taught him about being immortal, and that guy's sword was a Japanese sword. So I'm going to draw a katana here, and that katana is going to have this dragon-like head that it had in the movie. And really, since it's a very specific katana, I would probably go back and pick up a few more of the details. Alright, katanas tend to be bladed on one side or sharp on one side, flat on the other. Not like a broadsword, which has got both sides sharp. If I were to do my favorite superhero, which I will give you that as an option even though it wasn't on our list, I could draw the superhero myself and make that part of it, or I could do this, and I would think even by now, not being finished, most of you guys can figure out my favorite superhero. Now, what these all have in common, they are overlapping. They are taking as much space as I can possibly put in here. That's a good thing. All right? That's how you want to fill up that space. We don't need the entire object. I can zoom in my hamburger. Boom. My hamburger takes up this much space. Now, I would like it to be the Plaguebringer burger from Kuma's, but I don't know if anybody's really going to notice the difference. So I put in a burger. That's really not one of the better burgers I've ever drawn. Alright, and I just keep doing that kind of thing. I go through all my favorites. My favorite animal, I don't have to draw an entire wolf. I might do something like a paw print to convey my favorite animal. Because what we're doing is we're doing symbols. We're reducing these things to simple shapes so that everybody can comprehend them. There's not too many people on the planet that wouldn't know that's Batman. There will be some. Some people never read a comic book or saw a movie. That's possible. I'll put EKO because that's what that is. And lastly, my favorite color, I am going to do a crayon. And when I go to color this, I will eventually make it green. Alright. And I could have done this crayon as a cartoon character. Or I could have done it as a happy bucket of paint. I'm not going to put the word green on there. Oops, I messed up. I put the Echo logo. Shouldn't have done that. Wasn't thinking. I could have done that logo if it was just a symbol. But they're actual letters. So I'm trying to stay away from that. Alright, same thing with my green. I'm just going to make it green eventually. I'm not going to take and put letters there because that's going to mess up my image. Alright, so if I roll this up, you get a pretty good idea of what my pre-sketch of my image is, at least a sloppy copy, and then we're going to take and make a good one. Alright, so that's what I expect to see in the next couple of days from you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. And that's it. Peace out.
Oh, I am your father. I am your father, Luke.
I am your father.